Hi everyone, welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to use Archana's Kitchen rich chocolate cake mix and make a delicious chocolate cake right in your kitchen. It's absolutely simple to make, and this cake mix is packed with the goodness of whole grains and millets from Ragi and Jowar and Whole Wheat flour. Has absolutely no preservatives, has no Maida and no artificial colors, and made from natural cocoa. So let's get started. I'm going to be showing you two methods. One is the pressure cooker method and the oven method as well. So let's get started. So first, for the cake mix, you can either use a 7-inch cake pan or a 8-inch cake pan. Both of them work very well. And if you don't have a cake pan and if you're going to be making in a pressure cooker, you can also use the pressure cooker pan, the pan that comes with the pressure cooker to cook your rice and dals, and use that as well. So I'm going to be using this for the pressure cooker, and I'm going to be using one of this to go into the oven. And you can also use a loaf pan, a cupcake pan, or a muffin pan to also make these cakes. So first is to get all the ingredients ready and then start greasing our pan, preheating the oven and preheating the pressure cooker, and then making our cake. So the first thing, we're going to be making this cake mix without eggs. It's absolutely eggless and you'll get a soft, delicious cake. First thing, you have to ensure that you measure the 240 ml of yogurt or the curd. Homemade curd or yogurt is preferred, but if you have a store-bought curd, I will share a tip. And then you keep your oil ready, which is 80 ml oil. So now into a large mixing bowl, I'm going to go ahead and add in the Archana's Kitchen rich chocolate cake mix. So let me just do that. Just add the entire packet. Just tap it down so that no extra flour is left behind. That's wonderful. Add in the curd, which you've measured, and add in the 80 ml of oil. And it's so simple, isn't it? And all I'm going to do is to beat it up until it's nice and fluffy. Use a ladle and gently ensure that you mix the curd, oil, and the cake mix together, okay? And once it's sort of combined, you beat sort of briskly and to ensure that it's nice, smooth, and fluffy. You can also use a hand mixer, but really you don't need any gadgets or equipment. All you need is a bowl and this ladle, and you mix it up really well to get a nice fluffy cake. Wonderful. So now the tip, if you have used a store-bought curd, which is thick, right? The thick curds that you get in the market, and if you notice that the batter is not yet fluffy and it's very thick, because sometimes the store-bought curds are very thick and don't have too much whey in them, which is the water from the curd. So then what you do is add 2 tablespoons of water or 2 tablespoons of extra curd, and that's it. All you need to do is you get a nice smooth batter like this, right? It should fall nicely, smoothly. It shouldn't be liquidy. It should still be thick, but it should fall nicely. So now just vigorously just beat the cake mix for about a minute or two. That's it, okay? Until it becomes nice and fluffy. So notice the batter is nice, smooth, and it's got a nice glow to it. And I love this. And it has to just fall smoothly, and you know that your batter is ready. So now my next step is to grease my pan, preheat your oven, preheat your pressure cooker. So I'm going to share tips for that in just a bit. Let me just clear the space and then show you. So now to grease the pan, you have to add a little bit of oil, and you can also add softened butter as well. And then just spread the oil around the edges fully, well on the sides, the edges, the corners, and the bottom. Ensure that it's well coated. Okay, and I'm going to do the same for my pan, which is going to go into the rice cooker, into the pressure cooker. Okay, wonderful. Just grease it well. This is great. And now I'm going to dust it with flour. Important technique so that the cake doesn't stick to the pan once it's baked. So we'll just sprinkle a little bit of flour and tap it. Okay, and typically what I like to do is to do this process under a sink and dust off all the excess flour. But I have like a tray here, so I'm just going to go ahead and ensure all parts of the pan are well coated with flour. Okay, and that's great. Notice it's well coated. I'm going to dust off the excess flour in the pan, and there you go. I'll keep this to the side. Now I'm going to do the same. We'll sprinkle some flour on this pan and we'll dust it. All right, this is the pressure cooker, and what I've done is I've put a trivet at the bottom, and I've also kept like you can place a katori or another box, steel box or something at the bottom. The reason is I don't want to place the cake pan right on the trivet because the heat will be very, very close to the cake pan and the bottom can get burnt. So that's why we're going to keep it at an elevated level, and then we will place the cake pan with the batter into the pressure cooker. Okay, so now this is critical. So I'm showing you the pressure cooker is not preheated yet, but I'm going to keep it for preheating in my gas stove, and then place the cake batter into this. There's not going to be any water. There's not going to be any sand or salt, just plain pressure cooker, and we're going to be preheating it on medium heat. And after that, we're going to keep the gasket on. Don't remove the gasket. The only thing that you're going to remove is the weight. There's not going to be any weight. We're not going to be pressure cooking it. Air is going to sort of go out and also circulate inside. Okay, wonderful. So now I'm going to pour the cake batters into both the pans and then place one in the oven and one in the pressure cooker. I have started preheating my oven at 160 degrees centigrade. Okay, and if you have a very large oven, like about a 40 liter oven and above, then you can place it at 170 degrees centigrade or 175. And if you have an oven which is 25 liters oven, which is like a smaller oven, then place it at 160 degrees centigrade in the middle rack. Okay, great. So now let's pour the batter into the oven. I'm going to put the pressure cooker for preheating. It needs to preheat for 10 minutes before we put the cake batter inside. Great, so I've just used one cake premix. I'm going to go ahead and add that into one of my pans, and I'm going to quickly whip up another cake mix and then put it into my pan which will go into the pressure cooker because the pressure cooker is getting preheated. Wonderful. All right, ensure that you scrape out almost all of the cake mix. And as a child, and in fact even now, what I like to do is to lick up the extra batter. That's one of my favorites. And yeah, batter tastes really good. Try it, or even give it to your children to lick it. They will enjoy it. Wonderful. Just level the batter nicely, and to remove any air pockets, just give it a tap, and that's it. So now this is going to go into my oven, which has been preheating for close to about 12 to 13 minutes now, and I'm going to place it in my oven for baking for about 35 to 40 minutes until it's done. You have to wait and watch. Sometimes each oven is different, right? Your larger ovens might take a little lesser time, and the smaller ovens may take a longer time. And so you have to monitor, and each oven has a different heating capacity in its convection mode. Some ovens don't have convection. So irrespective of any oven that you use, after 30 minutes, just go back and take a look. Put a knife inside or a tester inside, like a toothpick or even a knife, right? A butter knife or a cutting knife, and just put it in the center to ensure that the cake is completely done. It should not have any raw batter. It should be nice. When it comes out, it'll be nice and clean. Okay, so this is great. So now I'm going to quickly whip up the second cake batter and put it into my pressure cooker as well. All right, the second batter is now ready too. Wonderful. I'm just going to go ahead and add this into the pan which goes into the pressure cooker. Just going to go ahead and place the pressure cooker here, and it's hot. I can feel the steam, and gently place this pan over here. Wonderful. And just close it. Don't put the weight on, nothing. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and keep it back on medium heat, low to medium heat, and about 35 to 45 minutes. And do check, because based on the heat of your stove and the size of your pressure cooker, baking times can vary. So after about 30 minutes, 35 minutes, I would say, open and check. And if it's a little sticky, allow it to bake for another 10 minutes and your cake will be done. All right, the cake from the oven is ready, and I'm ready to test it. So just put the knife in the center, and if it comes out clean and there's no crumbs, then it's done perfectly. Now I'm ready to get the cake from the pressure cooker and then test it out as well. And now that looks perfect, doesn't it? So I'm just going to put a knife in the center, and it has to come out clean, and that's perfect. I'm going to take this out from the pressure cooker, allow it to rest for about 10-15 minutes till it cools down, both the cakes, and then I'm ready to cut and serve them. So there are two ways to cut it. One is you can make 8 large slices of the cake, or you can make 12 sensible slices of it as well. Because the cakes are really moist, rich and delicious, a sensible slice will be perfect for satiating your taste buds and giving you that satisfaction of having a delicious and yet a cake that's packed with the goodness of millets as well as whole grains. So I really hope you enjoyed watching this recipe of how to use Archana's Kitchen rich chocolate cake mix to make a delicious chocolate cake. Super simple to make, isn't it? Packed with whole grains and millets, and all you have to do is to have 2 simple ingredients at home, which is curd or dahi and some oil or some softened butter. You can use either one of them and make a delicious cake at home. You can make it in a pressure cooker or in an OTG or a microwave convection oven as well. You can shop these cake mixes very easily in online in a store next to you. You can find all the details for shopping in the description below, and would love to hear your reviews when you make it. Do spread the word, do shop these cake mixes and make these delicious cake mixes for your family. So until then, until next time, happy cooking and healthy eating.